Hello and welcome everybody to Killer Off-Road Hobbies. This is going to be a first look and first run video for the new offering from RedCat, the 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive Kaiju monster truck. Just thought I'd throw that in there. All right, so as I said, this is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive monster truck. This is pretty new to the lineup. I think there's only a few videos out of this truck as of the time of this video, which is why I snagged it up and I want to get it reviewed for you guys and let everybody know whether it's worth the $400 you'll pay for it or not. So just going over the boring stuff real quick, we do have a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. The RCR2CE does have this little flip up right here where you get your reverse switches on top, a bind button, you get steering trim, throttle trim, and your steering dual rate. Little off on switch there, and it does run on 4 AA batteries. It does have this nice rubber on the wheel here. It does have like a little disc brake fake thingy in there. You know, it's got this little nub on it, but I've seen these transmitters several times from RedCat, and although they're pretty generic looking, they do work very well. And they do have a charge port if you do want to put a battery in there, a rechargeable one. So, you know, while it's not nothing fancy, it is a decent transmitter in my experience. Moving on to the paperwork and the few things you get besides the truck in the box, you do get this sticker sheet. Of course, all the stickers are still on there because anybody who's seen my channel for a while knows that I'm not a huge sticker fan. So I think the truck has plenty of stickers already. It does give you a few Allen keys. It does give you a wheel wrench. And I do like these wheel wrenches versus the multi-wrench thing that comes with some kits, because these ones allow you to get into deep tires, you know, when the wheel nut's deep in there, which these tires are kind of like that. So these are pretty handy, but it's not a multi-wrench, but it will still get the job done. Now, I am seriously disappointed with this owner's manual, and I'll go ahead and talk about this for a second, because look how thick this thing is. I mean, this is like crazy thick, but it really only gives you like the basic information about your ESC and stuff like that. It doesn't give you any part numbers, no blow-ups of how to take the truck apart or anything like that. It's only got the same information in like 12 different languages. Not literally 12, but I'm just saying that because it's ridiculous that they would mow over the same thing over and over again in that many different languages and not give you any part numbers or any blow-ups of how the truck goes together or comes apart. So pretty disappointed in this mammoth huge thing of a owner's manual. Now getting to the truck, so we'll just talk about the looks at first. First thing that comes to mind when I see this truck is a very old Datsun truck. You can also say it looks like one of the first Toyotas that came out, because the Toyotas had the dual front headlights and everything, and they were like, you know, those mini trucks. So, you know, this is very reminiscent of either the Datsun or one of the first Toyotas. But I think it looks all right. It is kind of small for an A scale. We'll get into that eventually, but you know, the name Kaiju, that's kind of Pacific Rim-esque as well. So, you know, this thing, I don't know. We'll see how it does. It does look cool. I like the color of blue they used. I like how they did use stickers to kind of, you know, make the body look pretty sweet. They did tether the body clips, which I really like that. That is very nice. And they even added their little logo on the tethers. So, I mean, as far as the body, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it with Gorilla Tape because I do plan on bashing this thing pretty hard. But if you're a fan of, you know, basically old school Datsuns or old school Toyotas, I think you'll really dig this body. Moving to the truck, so let's just kind of talk about what you get in this truck. You get a Hobbywing 150 amp 3 to 6S capable waterproof and dustproof ESC under here. You do get a 4268 2100 kV brushless motor, a hex fly 25 kg metal geared steering servo is in there as well, and that is also waterproof. And you do get LED lights in the front and rear bumpers. It runs 17mm hexes on the wheels. It's a 3-diff setup, and let's just get you guys in here and kind of look at all this. So it does come with this dust cover, which in my experience, they can be a hassle, but they do kind of help if you have a bash area like I do with a lot of twigs and small rocks and stuff. This does keep that stuff from getting down in your chassis for the most part. You will still get dust, but you know, dust isn't nearly as bad as getting a bunch of junk in there. This thing looks well put together. It does, the chassis definitely reminds me of the Halion chassis. So it does remind me of that, although it's not exactly similar. It is very reminiscent of it. And this battery tray is relatively concerning considering this thing is 6S capable. So, I mean, we'll have to see, but this looks pretty small. Also, I already see this this bolt right here isn't ran all the way in. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like that because it does have a nut right there. So I will investigate that further and let you know on the first run portion of this video if that was supposed to be like that or not. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked into this truck very much, but you do have aluminum bodied threaded shocks, but they do have plastic caps, it looks like, yes. And this one has oil on it already, so we'll have to see if that's actually leaking or if it just got spilled a little bit on the cap there. Here's your motor. Like I said, you got that 4268 2100 kV brushless motor right there. Here's your 150 amp ESC. It is a hobby wing, so you will be able to program it with a hobby wing card. I am most likely going to just take the dual leads off of here and put one XT90 and just run, you know, a brick pack in this thing. But it looks well put together. Everything's just kind of lined up on this side of the chassis, and then the battery will sit in here kind of to counterbalance all that stuff. These tires, while not being exact replicas, are very, very close to the Proline MX 2.8s. They feel very good, and I guarantee with this tread design that this is going to get very, very decent traction in places that I bash anyways. The rubber compound feels nice and pliable. The foams feel pretty good. They're kind of soft, which means, you know, this is probably gonna balloon a little bit, but hey, that helps with backflips. So the tires feel great, actually. Now let's kind of take a look at what else you got here. You got typical H-arms, it looks like, in the back, and we are running CVDs front and rear. That's very nice. It does have a caster block here with an adjustable upper A-arm, I guess you could call it, or camber link. You've got your nice thick A-arm on the bottom. You got an adjustable camber link as well on the front, and adjustable turnbuckles. So your camber front and rear will be adjustable, and your toe will be adjustable on your front. Here's a look at the bumper. You know, it has these little fake toe points here. Like I said, it does have LEDs in the front and in the rear. Nice wheelie bar, and the wheelie bar is adjustable. That is very, very nice. We'll have to see how tough this thing is because it does move around pretty easily, but you do have adjustable body mounts here too via these clips, so those can go up and down whether you want to raise your body up a little bit. The plastics feel good. The chassis seems to be put together very well. Let's go ahead and turn this beast over. It does kind of remind me, just looking at the bottom of it, it does kind of remind me of like an X-Max style chassis, which is like what people call legitimate monster truck instead of having the flat pan chassis. This is slightly concerning, having this servo horn exposed and the servo horn being plastic. So That's something we'll have to see. I'm not going to replace it immediately because I definitely want to see if that's going to get hit by anything. You can adjust your servo saver right here as well. So, I mean, they do give you access to everything, and this does run a 3-diff setup as well. So there's basically like a center diff right here, and then you have your rear diff, and then a long drive shaft to your front diff. Those should be adjustable. I couldn't find whether they have silicone oil in them out of the box or not. So a couple things I want to say. I do see metal hinge pin retainers down in the front and rear end, which is going to be very good. The suspension out of the box feels pretty plush. I mean, you can thread down those collars to give it a little more resistance. So I think it feels good actually. It feels like the oil's pretty perfect. It doesn't feel too heavy or too light. It actually gives it a nice resistance. I think this thing's gonna do pretty well. Now, this is on the smaller side of a 1/8 scale truck, coming in at just 20.5 inches long from the front of the bumper to the wheelie bar here. And then you're going to be 16 inches wide and about 10.5 inches tall at the tallest point, which is the top of the cab here. So it is kind of small for an A scale, but you know, it's definitely big for a 10 scale. So I think it's about, I would probably call it about a 9 scale if I had to put an actual label on it, but they're calling it an A scale, so I just say it's on the smaller side of an A scale. All right, everybody, well, that's the first look of this truck. I can't wait. I'm gonna go ahead, solder on a XT90 connector, and let's go take this thing bashing. So we got the Kaiju out here, and I'm not running the dust cover because I plan on swapping batteries. This screw is supposed to be like that, so yeah, that was my bad on earlier. Like I said, I didn't know if it was supposed to be threaded all the way in or not, but apparently it doesn't need to be. We're running 3S because this is a small truck. I know some of you are not going to like that, but we're going to do 3 and 4S in this video if it holds up. And I did Gorilla tape the bejesus out of the body to try and get it to last a little bit because it does look pretty cool. Other than that, we're running everything stock. I haven't messed with the gearing, haven't messed with the diffs, haven't messed with the suspension. So let's go bash it. Woo! We got the windy conditions like always. We got the Kaiju. We're on 3S right now, and I think 3S on this thing is going to be pretty decent, maybe even backflip status, but let's see. Yeah, 3S is not bad at all actually. I'm running a 5,000 milliamp hour, a Wamfi 60C discharge pack. I figured since this thing is just kind of like a big 10th scale or a small A scale, like I said in my first look, I would just classify it as basically 9 scale. I figured 3S would be pretty decent in this thing, and from what I can tell it is. The tires get awesome traction. The servo, however, the steering servo seems lacking. The power is good though. It's not wheelie out power, but it's definitely decent power for the size of this truck. And the suspension is set up nice. No matter how deep you clean it, it never seems to be as clean as it is when it's brand new. The brakes are pretty weak. I'm going to definitely adjust those after this bash. But the suspension seems good. The power is good on 3S. It will not backflip though. Not gonna backflip on 3S. Off this jump anyways. It's so dusty already. It's starting to get hot. Nope, not gonna backflip even off that one. Well, not backflip power on 3S. Ooh, it's definitely got good power. I mean, that is not bad for 3S. Suspension is nice. Not sure how fast that's going, but it's going at a decent rate. Dude, it just soaks it up. Yeah, the suspension is set up beautiful. Went sideways off that one. Oh, we might have got a backflip out of that one.
I bet if you set it up at the top of this one here and just pin it, like I did with the X-Max, I bet you'd be able to.
Nope. Ooh.
Okay, maybe not.
I barely was able to save that from catastrophe. The wheelie bar took that hit. It wasn't a full-blown rear hit, but it took it. We'll just do a little more 3S and then I'll throw the 4S pack in here and get you guys some good footage. Things, I like it on 3S. I mean, for a lot of people, 3S will be good enough for sure. But I think this thing's gonna be an absolute undrivable nutball on 6S. For sure. Alright, I want to get one of these decent jumps over here. See what we can do over here real quick, and then we'll throw the 4S pack in it. But I know that's what you guys are really wanting. 4 and 6S, so for sure. Man, the suspension is set up so nice on this thing. Oh, dang it. Definitely Redding, California. No! Oh!
Nice save, bud.
I hope I got that on camera. That was a pucker moment for sure. That was a pucker moment right there. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right, without further ado, hey, over here. There we go. Without further ado, let's try this again. Without further ado, let's do 4S. So I was right in my assumption that this battery tray, while it takes my 4S pack, these straps are way too short. I mean, this one's barely hanging on. But this thing is wedged in here pretty good, and this one like is barely hanging on. That's as tight as I can get it. So give me a little bit more. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to throw some longer straps in this thing for sure. But I said that in the opening. I just wanted to point it out for you guys, that you're gonna need longer straps if you're gonna run big packs in here. So we put a 4S pack in there like I just showed you. One thing concerning though is when I was putting that 4S pack in, I felt the motor, and the motor seems pretty hot already for just running 3S. So that's going to be a little bit of an issue, I think. We'll probably hit thermal, I would guess, on 4S, and I don't even know if this thing will run on 6S. So this thing's definitely got wheelie power now. Definitely got wheelie power. No problem. I would guess easy backflip now. Whoa. If I can drive correctly. Well, not easy, but it did it. Man, yeah. I'm guessing we're gonna hit thermal probably. That little wheelbase is gonna take a little, you're gonna have to be a pretty good driver to get this thing to be finesse, I think. Whoa, what was I doing? Jeez. That was weird. Just like kind of stalled out in the air. Huh. I tried to hit the throttle and it didn't want to go. Easy backflips now though. Some diff tuning might be in order.
What?
Some diff tuning, I think. Put some heavier, get some heavier silicone oil in that front so not all the power bleeds to it. I need better brakes. I'm not a fan of like heavy brakes, but I need more brake than it's got. Gonna have to adjust it. Come on. I think 4S is definitely going to be the sweet spot on this guy. I think 6S is just going to be uncontrollable.
Oh, that'd be ridiculous.
Ooh. At least it let me have the power that time.
I felt the thud in my feet.
Might have to adjust the turnbuckles in the front a little bit. It has a really hard time going straight. Alright, come on. There we go. Well, it's still going. I would have thought it would have hit thermal by now. Ah, I rolled it. Ooh. I get it. It goes straight until I start accelerating. And then it just doesn't want to hold the line. I am crazy surprised we haven't hit thermal because of how warm that motor was on 3S.
Oh, nice.
This thing is a little beast though, that's for sure, man. The suspension is set up very, very nicely. It just soaks all this stuff up, no problem. The Kaiju! All the dust just coming from behind me. Oh! Oh, I saved it, yes! What a little beast. This thing's super fun. Whoa. It's pretty crazy to drive though. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's see if we cannot take a little kid out by the ankles. Oh. Yeah, I know. Oh well.
We just found kids at a park.
Yep. Ooh. Ah, the shrubbery.
Excuse you.
Excuse me. I think we got a free shot for it. What's up, buddy? What a beast, dude. This thing is a little monster. The name, I think, is good. Ooh, ooh. That didn't sound good.
No.
Little crunchy. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, I think the sweet spot is definitely going to be 4S. This thing is an absolute blast on 4S. This video is really long. Whoop! There we go. Alright, let's get one more good jump. The famous last words. I will tell you right now, already, I'm pretty impressed with this thing. Seems to be able to take a hit. It jumps well. The suspension is set up beautifully. I'm not going to touch the suspension at all, not even a little bit. The tires do well. The only complaint I have is that once it gets going, it is pretty hard to stay straight. But other than that, I mean, it seems durable. It seems like a well set up rig to me. All right, everybody, thumb up this video if you liked it. I know it's a long one. Thumbs down if you didn't. Stay tuned, subscribe, and click that bell, and we'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace.